Recently, I've been thinking about the idea of flow, and for a couple of reasons. If you're a creative type, you'll know that there is nothing more wonderful than getting into the zone and having time set apart to really focus on something and get into that state of flow. It's often when you feel most alive. And the second reason I've been thinking about it is because I haven't had any recently. We've had a December in which I had to get a book manuscript completed for Penguin. And where most people around me were on holiday, I spent the entire December just writing and focusing and concentrating, or at least trying to concentrate, because it's very difficult to do when you have a 2-year-old at home for the holidays. And working from home, of course, you have all manner of interruptions. You have cars hooting outside, people arriving at the gate, your phone ringing, people trying to sell you things, helicopters, motorbikes, mariachi bands, Jehovah's Witnesses, a man selling fax machines. And it's just constant interruption. Now, at about the same time, I happened to pick up a book as part of my research for the new manuscript with Penguin. The book was titled How to Start Your Business in 90 Minutes a Day. Now, the title is a little misleading in that it sounds as though the emphasis is on how to start a business. In fact, it turns out the emphasis is really on the 90-minute-a-day chunks and on how you can be more productive by setting aside 90 minutes a day. That said, great book nonetheless, and I actually quite recommend it to you. It's a very good one. There was some surprising information in there that spoke about the importance of 90-minute chunks in terms of creativity and productivity. Now, I've come across this information before in different forms. When you study how the mind works, how concentration works, and the idea of flow, that sense of getting into the zone, you very quickly realize that longer periods set aside for one thing are extremely important. Most people know by now that there is no such thing as multitasking. In effect, what's happening is you are building up a house of cards comprising your concentration as you do one thing, and then you have to dismantle the house of cards and build another house of cards as you switch to the other thing. And you might be doing that in microseconds, but you are doing it. And that entails that you are not in a state of flow. So my recommendation for you today is a remarkably simple one, but it is so powerful. What's important to you? What are the big goals for this year? What are the things that you really want to shine at? Is it, for example, writing a book? Is it a project? Is it starting a business in 90 minutes a day? What the author recommends is prepare for your 90 minutes in advance. So say, for instance, you have to wake up at 4:30 because you have a 2-year-old, and maybe even that's optimistic, and you know that you can get a 90-minute uninterrupted chunk at that point in time. Prepare for it the day before. Work out what you're going to do, what you're going to need to do, what equipment needs to be ready for that, so that you can sit down and take the full 90 minutes to exert uninterrupted concentration. It is amazing what you can achieve in 90-minute chunks. And the author of the book is quite right. He points out that you can move worlds if you set aside these 90-minute chunks once a day. My great interest in the world of expert positioning is often around writing books, and I strongly recommend writing books about your industry, your world, your topic, in order to become the most prominent name or a leading thought figure within your world. If you are going to do that, may I recommend using that as a system? 90 minutes religiously uninterrupted, i.e. that door stays closed and no one comes in. No phone calls, no checking your email. Focus for 90 minutes. And enjoy the wonder of getting into the zone, of flow, of uninterrupted productivity. There is something deeply gratifying about it. There's been a lot of research recently on how bad open plan offices are for productivity. It was a management fad a couple of decades ago. Now they're stuck, they can't get rid of it. But it turns out it's one of the worst things we have ever done in terms of productivity. You have voices and people all around you, you have 1,000 distractions, you can never get into the zone. Almost by definition, you are not going to get the best out of a human being if you place them in such a scenario. And increasingly, publications like Inc. and Forbes magazine are saying that the smartest management strategy of this decade is allowing people to work from home. And it's premised on that lack of interruptions. If your people can get 90-minute chunks of uninterrupted productivity, they might outperform an entire day in an open plan office. As you position yourself as an expert, that is wonderful information and very important. Set aside 90-minute chunks, you might outperform everyone. Cats mating, clans fighting, an errant game of bingo.